Hello, and welcome to Win Over Depression. I am your host, Tamara Trotter. This podcast is dedicated to those who suffer with a mental illness but try every single day to feel better. Did you know that over 800,000 people commit suicide every single year? This podcast will help to reduce the number of suicides in this country by sharing tips and techniques to help people get to that better place in life. Join us today for another episode of Win Over Depression. Today, we'll be talking about setting achievable goals. One effective way to fight depression is by setting small, achievable goals. When we're feeling low, even the simplest task can seem overwhelming. Breaking down our day into manageable steps can provide a sense of accomplishment and progress. Start with something as basic as making your bed or taking a short walk. By doing that, you have accomplished a small goal. Celebrate that. Each completed task builds momentum and confidence, creating a positive cycle that helps to counter feelings of helplessness. Remember, it's not about the size of the goal, but the act of moving forward, no matter how small the step. So be willing to take the first step, and then you'll take the next step and the next step, and before you know it, you have made it across the football field. Also, establishing a routine can be a powerful tool in managing depression. Consistency in our daily activities provides structure and predictability, which can be comforting when everything else feels chaotic. So when you know every day how it's going to look and where you start, all that chaos around you starts to decrease. So whether it's a morning ritual of meditation, a regular exercise schedule, or a nightly routine of winding down with a good book, these habits create a sense of normalcy and control. Over time, these consistent actions can improve our mood and mental health, offering a reliable anchor in turbulent times. So if you know that every single night before you go to bed, you're going to start to read a book, you can look forward every night to reading that book. And that is going to allow you to experience some normalcy in the midst of a chaotic day. You have something to look forward to. And that's what I tell people when it comes to depression. You've got to have something that inspires you, something that motivates you, something that brings joy to your soul. So whatever you can do to embrace creativity, be creative when it comes to your day. Be creative about what you can do to get to that better place. Because creativity is a profound way to not only express emotions, but it is a way to find relief from the weight of depression. Engaging in creative activities like painting, writing, playing music allows us to channel our feelings into something tangible and beautiful. I always talk about how music inspires the soul, how music helps you to get to that place in your mind that makes you feel better. So maybe there's a favorite song that when you listen to it, it just fills your heart with joy. Play that song on those days when you are just not feeling your best, on those days when depression wins. And guess what? When depression wins, don't beat yourself up, because you suffer with a legitimate mental health condition, and that means that we are sick. I recently did a TikTok video, and I said in the video that we are suffering from a sickness, and that's what depression is. It is a sickness. So don't minimize that there is something that is challenging in your life, and give yourself some grace if depression wins. Because guess what? Depression is going to win sometimes, and that's okay. And when depression does win, you dust yourself off, you go to bed, and you get up the next day ready to meet that day and give it all you've got. Just remember that when you take time for creativity, it's going to nurture your soul, and you are going to find joy in the process. Oftentimes, when you listen to upbeat music, it puts you in that better place. And after you've listened to the song, you forget that you were depressed. And now you have the energy to wash the dishes or to write a letter, or you now are interested in watching a movie with your kids and making some popcorn. But whatever you can do to help get you there is what you want to figure out. Because depression can make us feel isolated and disconnected. And that's why when we are alone with our thoughts. And our mind is often telling us things that just aren't true. Oh, you're all alone. And then all of a sudden, it starts to remind you of what you believe are the reasons you're alone. And it's probably not even true. So just make sure that you have an accountability partner. And I can't stress this enough. Someone that you trust and you can confide in. Someone that you can call and say, you know what? I'm not feeling really good today. I just wanted you to know. So that person can inspire you. Whenever you have another person who is a positive influence in your life, it is going to help your mental health condition. So reach out to others even when it's difficult, because it can make a significant difference. And also, for those of you who are listening and you're thinking that you may have someone in your life who suffers with the mental illness and you haven't heard from them, and so you're like, oh, they probably don't want to talk. They do want to talk. They just don't know how to reach out to you. So whenever you can text them or call them and say, hey, I was just calling to check in on you, see how you're feeling, that in and of itself boosts their mood immensely. So share your thoughts and feelings with trusted family or friends, people who you believe, understand, and will support you. You can also think about joining a support group or participate in community activities that will make you feel a sense of belonging and remind you that you are not alone and that there are people in this world who struggle with the mental illness just like you. The human connection is a powerful antidote to loneliness and can bring warmth and light into our lives. I always want to remind you, however, about seeking professional help, because sometimes fighting depression requires more than just personal efforts. So seeking help from a mental health professional is a courageous and important step. A counselor or someone who is trained can help give you some coping strategies and offer a different perspective to your challenges. As I said earlier, I take medication, but I take it in concert with some other things that I do in order to be proactive. I try to eat much healthier. I try to limit my sugar intake, and I exercise, I swim, and I do things that are going to open up my endorphins. When you open up your endorphins through exercising, that is what helps improve your mood. So whatever you can do along those lines, you are being proactive when it comes to managing your mental health. In addition to that, I wanted to let you know that I am about to release a course called 14 Days to Mental Health Wellness. If you go to my TikTok profile and you click on the down arrow, you are going to have the opportunity to get on the waiting list for the pre-launch of 14 Days to Mental Health Wellness, and you will receive an 80% discount. This 14 Days to Mental Health Wellness is going to help you figure out what causes your mood to swing. What is it that triggers you, triggers your depression? Are there people in your life that encourage your depression symptoms? And then you have to make a hard decision about whether or not you're going to continue to allow that person or those people to be a part of your life. And it may be a difficult decision, but when I think about it, my attitude is my mental health means everything to me. And I am willing to make a hard decision so that I can feel better and get to the place where I am living my best life. Remember, we only have one life to live, and tomorrow is not promised to any one of us. There are people who are being injured, people who are dying every day. And I would hate to see you be in that situation, having never fulfilled your true purpose on this earth. Each and every one of us is here for a specific purpose. There is a plan that we're supposed to follow, some type of contribution that we are to make to the world. My contribution is to enlighten people on mental health and encourage them to be proactive in their quest. But in order for me to get to that place, in order for me to be able to produce a podcast every single Friday, I had to be well enough and willing to do this every single Friday. And so I am so grateful that I am at that place now to where I can share with you what I've learned along the way. Inspiration and hard work are essential components in the battle against depression. By finding the beauty in everyday moments, setting achievable goals, maintaining routines, embracing creativity, connecting with others, and seeking professional help when needed, you can build a resilient foundation for your mental health. Each step forward, no matter how small, brings you closer to a brighter and more hopeful future. We always talk about hope because when we lose hope and faith in our ability to achieve what we set out our heart and minds to achieve, then it is so difficult to get out of that dark place. You are going to feel like you are sinking in quicksand. But when we are proactive, when we get up every day and put our best foot forward and try our best, even if we miss the mark, we have at least put our best foot forward. And I always tell people, no one can expect anything from you unless you have given them your best. And if you've given them your best, that's all that they can expect. I never want to end my podcast without thanking you so very much for listening. Remember, you can find Win Over Depression on TikTok. You can find us on Pinterest at TT Mental Health Expert. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and we're even on LinkedIn. If you're listening to this podcast and you are contemplating suicide, please do not take your life. When you commit suicide, you are shifting your pain onto your loved ones. They won't understand. They will blame themselves. They will wonder what warning signs they may have missed. If you could go to sleep, or before you do, call your accountability partner and let that person know how you're feeling. But don't take your life. Your life is worth living. You're valuable. I care about you. And I want to see you in the game of life. If you want to support this podcast, consider becoming a patron. You can go to www.patreon.com. That's patreon.com/Tamara Trotter. That's TAMERA, last name Trotter, TROTTER. As little as $10 to $20 per month will help us expand our message even further, even though we are already in the international market, but we'll be able to do so much more with your kind donation. Remember, giving up is never an option, and I will see you next Friday on Win Over Depression. Take care.